Hello, hello. I'm in a new location. So just setting myself up to make sure that everybody could see me okay. Hello, everyone. Anyone here, please say hello before we start. I'm just getting myself organized here. Can somebody please in the chat let me know if my audio, if my voice and everything sounds okay, or is there um, interference or anything like that? Please, anyone, let me know if anyone here. Let me know if you could hear me okay. Hello, hello, Mrs. Zoe. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Excited. So it sounds okay? Yes, all good. Okay, wonderful. Yay. Just gonna give it a minute. Excited for today's topic. And I'm excited to see what questions I have from you and anyone looking for a reading. Who's ready for a reading and who's ready to make this year a phenomenal year? Who's ready for that? I'm just grabbing my stuff. So I am working out of the Kiwanis Community Center here in front of the library. This is going to be my new office moving forward very soon. And yeah. And perfect. Well, I'm going to just start out with my normal intro. So, and also I want to thank everybody who is attending, who is here today. Say hello. And for anyone that is watching this replay, thank you for taking the time, your busy day. I hope to bring you some exciting information and some value in giving you some intuitive readings in the space of numerology and, making this year an incredible year in using this tool that I am very, very passionate about. So, as many of you know, my name is Maria Esposito. I am your vibrational logic consultant and wholeness strategist. So I help people, I basically bridge the gap between high level business strategies with intuitive vibrational science. And I do that in the space of using your personal soul codes and the soul codes of your business and bridging that gap into the analytics that we're all programmed to strategize and execute with the beauty of vibration and intuition and that all of that beauty in the right side of the brain. So welcome. And so I'm excited. So we are actually at the end. Can't you believe we're at the end of Q1, the first quarter? Like, where did this time go? So for those of you that have been following me, I did a four-part series for about the 10-1 code that we are all feeling. So I'm telling you, this year is going to fly just as this first quarter has flown by. And this is an exciting time because now, for the topic of today, we are embarking on our second quarter. And I like to look at this as this is our execution. So our first quarter was all about releasing those strategies, mind, body, consciously, subconsciously, letting go of the things that have not been working the things that didn't work for you last year, purging that, releasing that, planting the seeds, creating those plans, creating those blueprints of what you want your year to look like. So that is essentially your first quarter. Q2 is your execution. So this is a really, really great time to really be focusing on now taking those action steps. And you have the 10 you have the vibration of that 10, of that one, that pioneer taking action, moving forward, and you have the energy backing you up now. So so this actually reminds me of a story. It's funny because I've been going back and, in that Q1 purging, figuring out what has not worked. And it kind of led me to the story that I wanted to share about when I was launching and structuring Revolution 9 after my chaotic events of 2022 and 2023, which literally transformed my life into and really pushed me into doing what I'm doing now, which is being in complete alignment with who I am and where I'm going with business and life. So so it led me to this story of when I first launched Revolution 9, I was really focusing on helping business owners releasing those traumas at those subconscious levels. As a hypnotherapist and a trainer in hypnotherapy and LP, founder of HypnoCode, and you know being those master in helping people release those subconscious limiting beliefs, limiting decisions, and traumas, I wanted to lead with that and really help entrepreneurs, you know pivot and make those transformational changes in their lives. However, so for me, I want there was a lot of stuff that I needed to release. So the funny thing was I came up with this, my team and I, so I wanted to create a nighttime hypnosis for release. Especially one of the things that I was struggling with was, this feeling of unworthiness of success was a really big one, especially after the craziness I went through for those few years. And for me, I came and I wanted to create this nighttime hypnosis because really, if you're anything like me that has a very active mind, and I've had to train myself over the years to be able to even meditate. Most of the rewiring happens at night. So I said to myself, the best thing, if I could create this sleep time hypnosis to help me with these limiting beliefs and decisions that I had. So I had, my beautiful team and I put together this beautiful nighttime hypnosis specifically to really help, um, with those subconscious limiting beliefs. And and I was so excited, because it had these beautiful 432 hertz frequencies, and it was a guided meditation, and specifically with the script that I wrote, and it really digs deep into those unworthiness beliefs, and those um, imposter syndrome. So I was so excited. Funny thing is that when my team and I, when we went to go and launch, it completely flopped. And I have to say, it was pretty devastating for me because after those few years of craziness that I went through, having to go through different, um, life and business changes, um, it really hurt. I felt like if it really got to the point where I felt, um, really I wasn't connecting with my clients, with my audience. I really thought I was onto something, because not only did I know that I was, something that I wanted, this was something that people were saying, well, that you should be selling this. So when I went to go and launch it and it pretty much flopped, it really devastated me and really even made me feel about rethinking my whole business model and what I was doing and creating this online presence, which wasn't something that I did in the past. So it really truly made me feel that like I was on the wrong path. But then the key thing is what I realized was, when I was playing around at that time, I was looking at my own personal soul codes. And when I realized when I was launching my imposter syndrome buster mini program, the thing that I noticed that the dates and the times and when I launched were not aligned to my own personal soul codes. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm thinking this is playing a role. I think I took the logical, practical marketing approach to things, and I wasn't fully immersed into that aspect. So needless to say, when I took that opportunity and I said, you know what, there's really something to it, because when I started running my own numbers, um, and my own codes, that's when I started to realize that I think I'm taking the wrong approach to things. Because when I built Elite Property Investments, which was my real estate investment consulting agency, I took a very analytical, very logical approach, and I did well. However, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of burnout. It was a lot of hustle, bustle. And yes, I attracted opportunities. However, I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And when I decided to launch again, analytically, the way I launched Revolution Mind, I knew there was something missing. And ever since then, I've taken this approach of really digging deep into my own codes, digging deep into, how can if this has allowed me to create that wholeness, this passion, and now to where I am now, being able to help others, and now seeing the successes with my own clients, my community, and those that have been reaching out to me and seeing a difference, I said to myself, you know what? That was the difference. Was I was only taking, I was only aligning with my comfort zone and aligning to that space of that analytical space. Whereas when for anyone who knows me, anytime I talk about this space in numerology, I just love how this could transform not only your businesses but also your lives. It is a tool of awareness. It is a tool that could be used to strategically create those results financially, create that abundance in all areas of your life, but most importantly, create that internal fulfillment that you're making a difference. And why are we in business anyways? It's because we want to make a difference in other people's lives. And the funny thing is that when you go into business, you're going into personal development, because I'm telling you, in business, you're going to be hit with every single the things that you hold most in those subconscious spaces, those limiting beliefs, those limiting decisions, all of that trauma is going to be brought up to the surface, right? Who here agrees with me? Raise your hand. I know everyone here is an entrepreneur, and yes, we go through such like grit. You build such grit when you're in business, because we're hitting all of those subconscious things. So, so needless to say, I'm so excited because this topic about this Q2, this execution, and really focusing on how to use your numerology cycles to plan specific days that you want to launch your product. Have a high level, book a high level meeting, book a workshop or an event. And you're doing this strategically, because in a way that you're aligning to those vibrations. So I really, really love, but you know, so that's my story for the day. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, excuse me, give me 1 second. I guess there's something that I need to say, but for some reason it's not coming out. Vibration, lots of fun. So the other thing, in my last YouTube live, for those that attended, I talked a little bit about this karmic tax, I like to call it. So the one thing we want to talk about, so when in numerology we have this 4 and 8 code relationship, and it is karmic, and it could create karmic and fateful outcomes. And I touched a little bit about this. The one thing that I didn't mention, which I really wanted to touch point, so strategically. So when we're creating, we're plotting and using cycles, your own personal days, months, and years to plan strategically. If you have a 4 and an 8 code in your life path or your day of birth, you really have to be strategic in how you use those codes. So 8 is a very powerful manifestation. It's a wealth generating code. It's an abundance code. It's a prosperity code. So combining that 4 or 8 day of birth person, that day of birth or life path number with another 4 and 8, you know, for example, your the vibration of your business name. This is a really big one, which I didn't touch upon. So your business name, just like your birth certificate name, is result to your destiny number. So if you were to calculate your business name and using this tool of numerology, whatever that code is. So for example, I have a 4 day of birth. If my business name had a code of an 8, that vibration that I'm broadcasting out, that my business is broadcasting out, could possibly create these karmic events that could be not only brought back from the past, but be put out into the future. And it could create these really big, um, fateful events that could create, you know, lifelong changes, and could also magnetically attract certain people, certain events, certain things, because of the relationship these two numbers have. So, with that said, when you're planning a launch and you're creating a name for that product, if you have a 4 and an 8 in your codes, you want to be strategically very careful. And the most simplistic way how you bypass this is really knowing how to strategically calculate your own codes, knowing what your codes are, and bypassing anything that would relate to the opposite of that. So, for example, for me, as much as 8 is a very powerful manifestation code, I I never allow any of my codes to intertwine with that. That's probably the most simplistic, easy way. However, unless you know your cycles, or unless you know your own soul codes, you know, how would you be able to strategically do that? So, I'm going to tell you, in my description, there is a link that I'm going to put. There is a link in there for my entrepreneurial soul code quiz. Now, keep in mind, this soul code quiz is going to depict and share with you the vibration you're emitting. So the question is, are you emitting broadcasts that is a high vibration aligned to what your actual soul codes are, or are you broadcasting and aligned with the shadow sides of your own personal codes? So that will actually show where you're vibrating at and what code that vibration is. The next step after that is to actually see, does that actually depict one of your true soul codes? So click on the link, have a lot of fun with it. And I say, anytime you're doing these types of quizzes, be honest, because by you not being honest is only going to impact you and impact your own results. So be brutally honest when doing that. And now we have any questions here? Let me just see. How are we doing for time here? 1 more minute. So I could go on and on. So that's why I have my list here of topics that I wanted to talk to you about. So planning your codes, planning. So personal days, personal months, and personal years. Just to give you the heads up, I'm doing a vibrational logic mastery blueprint workshop on April 22nd. That's Wednesday, April 22nd from 2 to 4 p.m. This is going to be an intuitive strategic planning execution planning time where essentially what you're going to be, what this is all about is plotting your full year using your personal cycles and your power days, knowing what your three main codes are, and strategically planning your launch dates of anything that you have planned for the year. And using this concept of vibrational logic and blending the strategies of execution strategies, which I will help you step by step, but also aligning with your own personal codes. So not only do you have the 10-1 vibration of instant manifestation and high impact and that get up and go action energy, but also align with your own personal cycles to create the money that you're seeking, to attract the right clients that are willing to invest in your products and services, and to be able to connect to that internal fulfillment that you've made a difference in your clients and customers' lives, which I'm sure that's why you're here. So, but there's a reason. So to give you an understanding of why I chose April 22nd. So first and foremost, it's because it aligns to my life path number, which is a 33, master number 33-6. And the 6 is all about community collaboration. It's a number it's the cosmic parent number. It's a number of high level service, execution, but in a heart centered way where you're actually connecting at those heart levels with your clients and serving them in a space of truly wanting to create a difference and guiding them to creating that difference. It is the number of the compassionate teacher, the honorable leader. So that ultimately is a number that is also it's also part of it's a wealth generating code. It is an abundance code. It is also a prosperity acceleration code. However, the key thing is that that's not the only reason why I chose that specific number. The biggest reason why I chose that number is was ultimately because it is a number about community. And a big part of my vision was all is really truly is creating that affluential, transcendent type of change in my community and my clients' lives. And because the 6 is very big, it's like that parent. Has that parent feel energy. And because this is going to be a group community online program workshop that I'm offering, it was all about connecting with like-minded individuals that are looking to create a difference in their clients' lives through their products and services, and doing it in a way that is, the way the elite do it. So when we say elite, when you're looking at these high powered, successful businesses, you know, they have an intention. They have an intention first and foremost of what it is. They already know what it is that they want and how they're going to execute and do it. The key thing is what you're not realizing is that they're strategically using astrology cycles, numerology cycles, when specifically planning and plotting. They're doing it with intentions. That's what most of these, your Amazon, your, you know, all of these big companies, this is what they're doing. They're not just strategically doing it. And ultimately, it's all about creating that community give back. So for me, it's using a tool that I know that a lot of these elites are using, but it's doing it in a way that is, for me specifically, the six is all about that community collaboration. Even though I'm guiding you, I'm also learning from your experience, and that's what it's all about, that reciprocity. So link to that workshop if you're looking for more information, that's also in the description, so take a look if you're interested. And so I think this is it. I've talked enough. I've gone a few minutes over. I like to give myself 20 minutes, but I've gone 26 minutes. So I'm opening this space up for questions, answers. I'm going to go in the chat. Does anyone know what cycle they are in? Or does anyone want to share what plans that they have for the year? And maybe I could give you a little reading and help you choose a specific day for a specific launch for your products. Hmm. Hmm. I'm just going to go, just give me a second. So let us see here. Is this tip most relevant to fours and eights, or should anyone take? Okay, so no. That is a great question. So the karmic tax result, that relationship only applies to people that have fours and eights. So if you have, so you specifically as the founder owner, if you have a life purpose or a day of birth code of a 4 and an 8, then you need to be a bit more strategic in bypassing this energy that could create and could attract certain karmic results. However, I would never combine the 4 and the 8s, even if I have a day of birth 4, so I strategically. However, if I was a person that didn't have those codes, I would still kind of bypass using those, mixing the 4 and the 8s, because even though they're both high level manifestation codes, um, they attract a certain relationship. So even if they're not part of your codes, I would never personally intertwine them in my business structures. So to answer that, that's a really, really great question. Uh, so which codes do we need to consider when we're strategically planning for our business? Oh my God. How much time do we have? So I want to answer that and possibly, so I'm going to share that there's so many different levels with numerology. So I'll tell you, we have our own wealth formula. Now that is a very big and very complex, which is something something, maybe I'll do a workshop specifically on that one day. Who knows? But I usually do the 101 wealth formulas because it is a lot of work to determine what those is, because that's also bringing in your astrology natal chart to figure out the synergy between your numerology and your astrology, and what exactly the synergetic patterning between the two. So that's your wealth formula. However, to give you the generic codes that you would use when planning and executing, if you're looking for like financial abundance and you want to make money, money making days tend to be, and wealth generating days, 6, 8, and 9 are your pretty much your staples. 6, 8, and 9 are your staple numbers. However, abundance accelerator 1, in some cases 1 is also a manifestation and is also a prosperity code. Um, but if you want to speak the generics, and there's a reason why those 3 codes. And in my vibrational logic mastery blueprint workshop, we'll be going digging deep into, because your cycles or your power trilogy codes, which is what I call, we call your day of birth, your day of birth, life purpose, and your destiny. I like to refer to them as your power trilogy codes. Those 3 codes, if you have a 6, 8, or 9, then that's wonderful, because now you're double emphasis, because in numerology 6, 8, and 9 tend to be your pretty common financial abundance, wealth, money making codes. Mhm. So those are really good. However, I will say a 4 is also a manifestation. Now, the key thing, it is not a prosperity code, it is not an abundance code, it's not even, however, but if it's in your wealth formula, that could be a number. But it is a manifestation code in the sense that if you're blending your left and right brain strategically, moving forward, taking your downloads, taking those inspiration, and moving in a step by step, moving forward in a step by step manner, and creating those methodical steps towards that goal, you will also create manifestations, positive best, which could be financial, or it could be, you know, attracting a community, whatever that is that you're looking to seek. So 4, but it's not a financial code. The 4. Good question. Which comes to strategic planning? Can you tell us more about what you mean about what a big executive I use as numbers for? Yeah. So, can you tell us more about what you mean about what the big executives use the numbers for? So I've had conversations with very successful entrepreneurs and investors, considering being a real estate investor, myself in consulting in that space. Um, it's interesting to see how, when you get to a certain age and you get to a certain level in your business, and everybody hits those times where they reach that plateau. And to be honest, you could work the strategies, you could, fire your marketing team, you could, let go of your certain clients that are draining your time and energy. You could make those strategic changes. However, if you're not in alignment with those energies of who you are, with the astrological cycles, numerology cycles, and using the vibrations, that which is primarily what we are composed of, um, you'll create certain results. And these elites, these executives, these executives know this, because once you get to a certain level, you know that you could run any kind of strategy and you could put money towards any type of um, marketing or any type of platform, and that'll only take you so far. However, they know specifically that there's more to that affluential um, creation than just strategy, conscious strategy, and they know this. So, to give you an example, Ronald Reagan, president, he had his own personal astrologer that he would never book a meeting or anything without consulting with his astrologer first. Yeah. Believe it or not, that is definitely true. So to give you an example, and yeah, so that's a great question. I hope that satisfies that question. Um, okay, so here's another question. How do we know which cycle we're in? So you want me to teach. So, for example, okay, so how about we do this? Never mind my name 813. If you would like to give me, if you would like to give me your full day of birth, I'm going to just pull out my calculator here, and I could actually, to give you an example, so again, numerology is all about calculations. It's math. And it's abiding by the rules. So numerology also has you have to have a certain set of rules to that you need to abide by. Um, Hence why I'm building all of my programs. So for the do-it-yourselfers out there, stay tuned for my, again, my workshop will be specifically, you'll be actually receiving a manual that you'll be calculating your 3 power trilogy codes, learning how to do that. Then you'll also be learning how to calculate your cycle year, month, and day. You're going to have that information, and then you're also going to share, and you're going to answer a few questions. There's going to be a bunch of questions there to help you plan. So once you're done that manual, you're going to bring that in, and we are going to strategically plot your year. And I'm going to do that intuitively, not only help you strategically, but see which launches will be best fit based off of your codes. So you'll be actually learning for the do-it-yourselfers. This workshop is for you. So you'll definitely want to attend that if you want to learn how to do that, and then you'll be able to even plan out your next, your next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, create those projections based off of specifically about your codes and your cycles from this workshop. So, okay, here we go. So May. May. So, did you ask about your power year? What cycle we're in? Okay, so let's just do your power year. So, thank you for sharing your birth date 19, 1995. So, so 5 plus. Okay. So never mind my name 813. So to give you an example, you asked about how do you know your cycle. So for example, you are in a cycle this year. So up until your birthday, which is May 19th, you're in a 24/6 year. So with that said, this is a year of self-care. This is a year of community. This is also a year of being of service. It's a year of being of service, creating that collective community. This is also a year of really being mindful of your own health and wellness. 6 is representative of health and wellness, so it's also a number of foundation and home. But when I say home, yes, it could be your external, your home, but your home is also your body. So being mindful of finding that balance of your life, your work life balance, because 6 is also about finding that balance. And you really don't want to be tipping one way or another, because when you look at the 6, it could sway one way or another. So it's also finding that balance between that life and work, that health and wellness, on all levels, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but it's also a number of responsibility. and being of service, because the emphasis with the 6 is all about service, responsibility, and doing it in a way that's authentic and loving, that is heart centered. Because when you work from that heart centered space, you're you're going to attract and you're going to create that fulfillment within yourself. If you're doing it for external factors, then you're that's only going to deplete you. So you really want to be mindful of how this makes you feel. When you're of service to others, like, how does that feel? Is it bringing you fulfillment? Is it bringing you passion and excitement? Or is it depleting you and draining you? So you want to be conscious of that. So you're in a 24. So 24 is a beautiful number. 24, 6. And you want to hear something so funny? Never mind my name, 813. Beautiful thing is, I launched, so my vibrational logic mastery blueprint workshop is on a 24/6 code. So I just realized that now. So very, very, it's a very loving number. So, take time for you, be aware, listen to your body, be of service, but also be of service to yourself. So there you go. And this was great. Thank you. You're welcome, Zoe. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. And so far, this year has definitely been about finding balance. Yes, yes. So that's what this is all about. And it's being the cosmic parent, because it is a cosmic parent number. It's a beautiful number. So, and responsibility. Yes, it's a very big one. Must be meant for me. Oh, wow, this session must be meant for me. Yeah, maybe it was. See, there you go. You're here for a reason. We're all here for a reason. So, and thank you for joining. It brings me a lot of, it fills my heart when I'm able to provide, even if it's a little bit of clarity, to those that are seeking clarity or direction. Um, as many people know, I'm a very methodical, very practical oriented kind of person, and I love strategies. I love being able to methodically do things, build things. I am the master builder. That's my day of birth. So master builder, architect, but sometimes the key thing is, with, again, anyone who has 4 codes, you have to listen to your intuition. So those that are listening that have 4 codes, you know who you are. You need to listen to those intuitive hunches. That's the key thing, because if you're only leading with your analytical mind, life's going to be hard. Life's going to be difficult. And, and 4s have this natural grit to them, where they'll go and try to literally move those brick walls and say, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to find a way. And that means I have to climb over it, figure it out. But life doesn't have to be that hard. Easier said than done, especially when you've created the program in your brain. Working hard gives you a sense of accomplishment. And you know what the funny thing is? That's a program. That working hard, that really is it's not a really high, to me it's more of a shadow program. Working hard is everything that means anything, that has value, takes effort. The thing is, effort and hard work, 2 totally different spaces. And I think we're programmed to believe that when you work hard, that's where you see results. And being 46 years old and living life in a space of survival and really getting out there and working hard, working 2, 3, 4 jobs, having a side business, side hustles here and there. This is where You know what? I just realized. And do we have any other questions here? You know what I just realized for everyone here? I just realized that I think we're going to have to move because even though we're getting close to the end of time, I still want to give you your 15 minutes, but I think I need to charge my computer here. I guess I strategically didn't plan this the greatest. Now, did I? Anyways, that's okay. I still have about 10%. So, what other questions do we have while this session? Anyone else? Any other questions? Any other readings here? Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me okay? No. Well, you know what? You do what you have to do, right? Sometimes we just have to pivot, and I guess we're going to have to pivot here. Well, the interesting thing is I'm out in this lobby here, and there doesn't seem to be any plugs. So, okay. We can hear you. Perfect. Well, you know what we're going to do? Let us see here. Does anyone else have any other questions for me as we continue on? There is in the corner, if you can get a table in the corner nearest the wall. If you, where's the wall? Are you talking about a plug? So what I need right now is a plug before my MacBook dies here. The brick wall. Am I missing something? I can't really see. Oh boy. Sorry about this, guys. Just unplug. Uh-huh. Okay. I think I found a place that we could go. This just means I'm gonna have to bring my stuff. Okay, next question. If you have a soul code, for one, what does that mean for 24/6 year business one? If I have a soul code of 1, what does that mean for my 24/6 year business wise? Well, the 1 code, so this is the thing. So your 1 code is being emphasized this year because we are in a 10-1 code. So what that means is that you're getting the double amplification of taking action. So you need to step into that leadership role because it is a very high-powered leadership role in your business. So you are the executive, and this is your time to create that blueprint using cycles, create those action plans quarter to quarter, planning out what it is that you want to achieve, and most importantly, it's telling you to take action. Take action, and it's in a way of, yes, strategically, but also listening to your intuition, because 1 is a very powerful intuitive number. So you really want to make sure that when you're taking action in a space of those intuitive insights. So, what I like to share with people that are learning how to listen to their intuition and really don't know the difference, is this my ego? Is this my logic telling me to take action and work hard? Or is this my intuition that's giving me the inspiration? I say the 48-hour rule. So, what you do is if you get an inspired idea, wait 48 hours. After the 48-hour mark, go back to that idea. Does it still feel the same? Does it still have that charge that you want to take action just as you did when you first received it? Or has that feeling, lessened? And when you think about that idea, you're like, oh, yeah, it's a great idea, but you know what? I think I'll pass. If that's the case, chances are that is a program coming from your analytical mind and your ego telling you that you need to work, you need to be doing something. So you really don't want to take action, because the shadow side of the one is the shiny toy syndrome, the squirrel. They attract opportunities, but they tend to go all over the place. So you really want to be cognizant and not take on everything, and you're only listening to those inspired downloads, so that you're not burning yourself out. The other side is that the other side, the shadow side of the one, which is really prevalent, is constantly is self-isolation. You need to show yourself to the world. You need to show, broadcast, and be out there. If you are self-isolating, or you're suffering from imposter syndrome, or you're suffering from, or you're aligning with those limiting beliefs or limiting decisions, from past experiences that have occurred, then self-isolating is also another side that you really want to avoid. So you really want to take charge, take action on uh, those inspired ideas that you receive. So, so that's what that's telling you. So you having that as a soul code, taking action. So it all depends on which soul code that is. So if it's your day of birth, that's all about your execution, about moving forward, how you do things. If it's your life path, that's all about your journey. That's your roadmap. You know what? I'm gonna have to, before I lose you guys, I'm gonna bring my stuff here. I'm gonna grab my purse before I lose you all. All right. Okay, everyone's coming for a walk with me. How was that? Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you? There we go. So this is a year to really take action. Oh, 100%. So if you have a 1 in your soul codes, and we're in a 10-1 year, this is a year of taking action. So universally, we're all experiencing that. However, in your personal year cycle 6, you want to find balance. So yes, you do want to take action. However, you want to take action, but you also want to take action in a way that you're still finding balance. You want to build that community. You really want to be cognizant of that, work-life balance. So even though when you're in a space of focusing on building your business and creating and fulfilling your life's purpose and your destiny, then you know focus on taking action, not hiding. Take action, move forward. So that's what this year is telling you, because if you have those in your codes, it's double amplification. So you're probably feeling like you need to do action, you need to do things, but you really have to be cognizant of finding that balance as well. Because a 6, you really don't want to be going too much on one side. So if you're focusing all your time on business and you're not cognizant of your own health, wellness, your body, your family, your home, you need to find that balance. So that's the main thing you want to be cautious of for this year. That's the big part. So, and makes sense. So much to learn. Oh, you know what? We all still have lots to learn. We all have lots to learn. So that's what life's all about. We never stop learning. We never stop growing. So that's why we're here. And Do we have any other questions? Any other questions here? Anyone else? Well, we're getting close to the end of our time. I really hope this brought you some value, and I hope this has given you some clarity. I'm just a lot of different things, playing around with different things for these YouTube lives, and excited for the upcoming workshop. So for anyone who um, even wants to learn more, if anyone who wants to book a consultation with me and kind of learn more about the workshop or any of my consulting services. So basically, for anyone who is looking to use this tool, learn this tool, and use it themselves. So you're do-it-yourselfers. All of my online programs that I'll be launching and my workshops will be designed to kind of teach you how to do that. Whereas for the executives that say, you know what, as much as I want to learn how to do this, I just want somebody to tell me, what is the most advantageous route and plot everything in a very systematic and a very vibrational logical way. That's where my consulting comes in, where I we work step by step. We analyze and we diagnose you as the founder. We analyze and diagnose your business. We look at the gaps between the two. What is your business asking for? What is the founder asking for vibrationally? We mesh those two together, and then we create an action plan that fills in those plateaus, those gaps within you, the founder, and the business. So, and you get that strategically, done for you by myself through my consultancy in that space. So lots of really great things. So for the executives that don't have time and want it done, my one-on-one consulting is a really, really good fit. And for those of you that love this and want to learn more, stay tuned. Stay tuned for my Entrepreneurial Soul Codes mini program coming out very, very soon, because that is your Numerology for Business 101. And that is going to cover and teach you a lot. There's going to be a lot of really, really great information in that program for you. And then on top of that, you'll be also included in our exclusive R9 Wholeness Collective internal community, where you'll have access to other entrepreneurs and other business owners, and you'll have access to questions to me. So, and the good news is that for the workshop, for anyone who attends the workshop on the 22nd, they will also, I'm including this exclusive access to my R9 Wholeness Collective community for people that attend the workshop as well. So you'll have continuous support from me and the community of like-minded entrepreneurs, investors, and business owners, and for people that are really curious on learning how to use numerology within business and using it in a very strategic way. So that's another bonus that I'm including in my workshop. So, any other questions? Any other readings? No? All right. Well, we did good. I just want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you that have attended. Thank you for everyone, for those of you that are watching the replay. Please subscribe, like, and share if you think anybody would receive value from the information that I've provided. And by all means, if you weren't able to attend and still have questions regarding the topic, make comment. And I'm the between my team and I, we moderate and monitor the channel. So definitely we'll be able to answer your questions So if you weren't able to attend and you have questions regarding this topic or anything else, just comment on the YouTube channel, specific to this particular live, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So thank you very much. Amazing sign up. Oh, for anyone here, anyone who wants to sign up to the event or want more information about the for my workshop on the 22nd, link is in the chat right now, and the link is also in the description for anyone that is watching the replay. And thank you for answering my questions. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much for attending. I really do truly appreciate you all and hope that you received value from this time. And stay tuned. I will definitely see you in 2 weeks. I believe that will be May 8th, if I'm not mistaken. But stay tuned for that and have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful day. We'll see you soon. Bye.